All right. Tallahassee area, Big Bend area, North Florida area, high school football fans, welcome back to another edition of the Extra Point. Man, it's been a long summer.
It's too long. It's too long. But last week solved that problem. I
It did,
enjoyed
it
myself.
did.
Man,
Man, we had a
football is
great
back.
we had a great time down in Vero Beach at the Treasure Close Kickoff Classic. Man, three great games. Miami Northwestern uh, taking on Lakeland. Lincoln handle business against uh, Carroll
Carol
City,
City.
and then on Friday night, probably one of the better games, ended up in the tie. Vero Beach taking on Norland. But man, we had a great opportunity to catch some preseason ball. Lincoln looked really good, but it's been a really it's been a weird off season. Normally we get a chance to kind of do some normal things, but man, it has been some drama going on, especially here in the capital city. But it just, man, getting back to just football and everything that has surrounded all of the media storms and a couple of stories, but especially affecting high school football here in this area. It just feels nice to just see the ball placed on the field, have the referee blow the whistle, and everything just works itself out.
Yeah, Mark, I enjoyed the football games. I'm glad the season's about to start. And we're looking forward to the upcoming week.
Yeah, it seems like the days get even longer, gentlemen. I know the summer's a long time, but then once media day happens, and then it seems like every day is so much longer. But now, like Coach said, our first game in the area, well, technically we had games last week that counted, but for the first like official full slate, we have a couple games Thursday night, and then of course we get the big slate going on Friday, just which at time of recordings less than 48 hours away. Woo!
It
Wow,
it
I
just
get
creeps up
nervous.
on you like that. Football season don't it feel like it takes forever, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's right there in your face. I'm enjoying just the entire just ramp up, man. Watching a lot, man. We don't have so much talent coming out of the North Florida area here this season. I think there's going to be a lot of sleeper kids that have really flown under the radar. We got some fresh faces on some new teams. It just happens. Get the shuffle and the shake up, but man, that 2020 that 2026 class and that 2027 class are looking really, really tough. Um, we'll probably take a moment during next episode or week number 2 to start dropping some names, but right now we're still getting familiar with a lot of these kids, especially uh, them being in different positions on new teams. Man, we were expecting just, I would say, to have a really, really big start. We're going to get into the schedule shortly, but of course, we got to run down some off-season business. Man, there's been just a little bit of drama coming out of the Gaston County area, and we normally don't. I don't like reporting on negativity like that, but it was just too big of a story to ignore. Where Gaston County really had what I would consider to be a state championship contender with a lot of kids that were expected to come back, and then of course. Them dealing with the fallout. They actually have a hearing tomorrow, from what I hear.
Yeah, tomorrow, Coach Eddington is doing his appeal with the state, and hopefully he's being successful.
So we
Yeah,
have
especially the
we have just the ruling coming from the FHSA, and that in and of itself, it always spells trouble, but you're hopeful that certain things can happen so that the kids can at least play. And this one was just a little bit different, a little bit of a curveball where we saw where not only uh, did it was weird. It was like the kids can play, they just can't play for Gaston County, and that just kind of raised a lot of eyebrows. But Coach Ellington really has, I think, for the most part, uh, kind of has remained obviously just kind of stoic about the whole thing. Still have to coach a 10 game, 11 game season coming up here soon. Uh, the Jags, I think, even though they don't have all the pieces in place, hopefully he'll get some good news out of the hearing. there's still this is still a playoff caliber team regardless, and I do think that um, there's just a lot of uncertainty that's surrounding things. But for right now, as it stands, they are without several key players. I think it was 13, if I remember correctly. But they do have a hearing coming up tomorrow, and they'll find out some more information. Coach Kofi, you know all about how this stuff works. You've been on
Well,
the other side of the coin.
I never had that problem now. But they're going to talk to Coach Eddington tomorrow. He got suspended for the year, and he's appealing it. Now, I think if they overturn their appeal, I think they got a good chance on the next appeal, which is for the kids to be able to play for Gaston County, and hopefully, if he's successful, then they will change the ruling they had earlier.
In a situation like this, what do you think that what are and I know that's kind of the best case scenario. What do you think they'll try to argue with again to the FHSA just to be like, hey, because it could things that come down to paperwork and clerical errors. During the summertime, they're oftentimes the school offices are not open. There's a lot of stuff going back and forth where you don't get a chance to have the same autonomy during the school year.
Yeah, Mark. The problem that they have, I don't quite understand it. If you're making clerical errors, I don't understand why would you punish the coach. Uh, the AD would do that. Yeah, the administrations are in charge of that. Although he has to look over it and give them the information. And now coming out, uh, they punish him. He got the harshest punishment, missing a whole season.
Yeah, that seems, we try to make sense of things, but we only have the information that we do have. But yeah, in terms of Gaston County, that team that they were expected to come into the regular season with was absolutely loaded. So, and this is what happens, you make a run like this, like they did in the previous year, you end up with a target on your back, although that's not the one that they were expecting to have. Their first opponent was not expected to be the FHSAA. I'm pretty sure they thought their first opponent was going to come on the field.
Mark, I think they had a chance to be state champs with the players. They're very good without those guys. Uh, Last week they played a tough Venice, and next week we'll see. They go. I think they get over to Tip County. They have some good players over there, and hopefully uh, they can turn this season into a successful one.
That was a good clip, Mark. I hope you get that because that was a beautiful quote. I knew you kind of slid it in there. That got me good. And I think everybody's on the table for battling the FHSA. It seems nobody's safe. Yeah, it's a tough situation, not only for you talk about coach individually, but also for the program. The amount of money that they're throwing at them, $21,500 to
Yeah.
the to this local program would be absolutely crippling for Gaston County. That is absolutely brutal. Obviously, a lot of factors at play. Mistakes were made, right? But was it malicious intent? So far, their rationale seemed to be falling on deaf ears. But I don't know if you guys saw the story that broke today, earlier Wednesday, depending on when you're watching this, the day before the hearing. Of course, coach feels confident about his appeal. And I know there's a lot of moving parts of like who touches that paperwork, who signs off on it. I know there's like legal ramifications as well because like notaries are signing off on it. And there's a lot of shifting parts. So, we'll see if we can get it together. But yeah, an opportunity, a lot of levels to go with what's happening here. Coach gets his appeal and the school gets their appeal. So he could potentially get back in the mix. And then the school could not only get the financial burden, but of course the playoffs come back into the fold. And then some of the other players are having to wait till September to get their hearing out,
Yeah.
which is another level. But there's going to be some clarification to your point, gentlemen. And hopefully we get some kind of news. But from what I hear, Coach Gordon He's ready to step up and get after it. And the guys that are there, people want to jump off the Gadsden ship, but Gadsden's still going to have a solid program
Yeah,
here regardless. So, I mean, you can't just write off the Jags.
yeah, this is still a playoff caliber team. Let's and I think looking at how 2A shapes up, um, this is a team that if they get it together, this is still a very dangerous team. I do understand just kind of the polish that goes on when you have that you want to put on a team when they have all of these weapons around the field. But sometimes it's the next man up, it's the underclassmen that end up being the gap fillers. I think I remember, watching Lakeland back in 2005. Nobody knew that, the Pouncey twins, Chris Rainey, and all these 10th graders were going to go on the run that they did. And then it happened. You can get it done with some underclassmen. I think we've seen it before. We've been around football long enough to watch teams kind of adapt and overcome. And Gadsden County still in, as far as postseason hopes, they're still in great shape. I do think that despite the adversity, sometimes these are things that end up fueling the fire. And we really don't know how that can affect the team. But I do know that anytime a good football team faces adversity, they always come out swinging. So I expect to see this team, regardless of the outcome, man, those first few weeks, man, those opponents better watch out because this is a team that's going to be angry and hungry.
I'm looking forward to seeing what becomes of this season for them. I think they got some great guys over there. They got a pretty good team out. People, like you said, Mark, they don't take them light. These guys can still play. They just lost a few players, and the guys that they have left can fill in and do a good job.
Yeah, moving on, some other news coming out of South Florida area. This was also just as shocking. We didn't realize, I think the way things play out sometimes, especially in the off season, there's always some coaching change ups. But this is one that we did not foresee. But Teddy Bridgewater out as Miami Northwestern head coach. Had a chance to talk to their new head coach on the sidelines during the Treasure Coast Kickoff Classic. And this is a team that still is heavily loaded and heavily favored. But man, it was weird not seeing Coach Bridgewater on the sidelines and then coming to get more, actually getting more information about the fallout. This is one of those things where just sometimes the bureaucracy can get in the way of somebody trying to do good. This is a coach that really tried to set a strong example of giving back. And when I say give back, of course, Miami Northwestern, for those who are old enough, we remember seeing Teddy Bridgewater coming out of Northwestern as one of the state's top quarterbacks, national recruit, before he became the Teddy Bridgewater that we all know now. And him going back, taking over the Bulls program, restoring them to prominence, that was really a storybook ending. And what happened last year, and I think just to have it just kind of, just fizzle out the way it did, him being first sanctioned, and I'm not really sure what came first. Was it the Dade Miami Dade school board that came out, or if it was eventually the FHSA? But under a normal circumstance, no, you don't want the coach. I would call it impermissible benefits. You don't want the coach, just doling out cash like that. But this, I feel, was a different set of circumstances. And it just kind of seems where, maybe this should have gone by the spirit of the law and not the letter.
Yeah, I guess you can look at it like that, Mark. Um, I don't know all the particulars. All I know is what I read about him doing things for the kids. And most coaches that coach it, if that's the case, it's a whole lot of that going on around the state. Rides home. I know I burned up tanks and tanks of gas, taking kids to the house, buying food, doing different things for the kids. If that's, I thought that's what coaches do. They become that guy that fills in for the family. He takes care of that kid because that's one of his guys. The players become family to you. They're not just somebody that plays on a team. That's family. And people, I don't understand the rules, and I don't want to get in it with FHSA, but it's hard to look at a kid with an issue and not address it.
Right.
And there's a lot more eyes on you too. When you're playing football in December, there's a lot of people sitting at home stewing to see how they can knock you off the table. So that doesn't help. But a lot in play here, like you said, Coach. But I see a lot of parallels here.
Yeah, there's definitely, in my opinion, I think what needs to happen is, we've talked about just the overhaul of the system as it stands, but there are certain schools, no matter the talent they produce, they're still in an impoverished area, and that still has a great impact on your team. When you talk about guys walking great distances or going home and there's no lights, there's no food, it kind of makes you take another closer look at what can be done on a separate level outside of football. We've talked about coaches' pay. We talked about the FHSA, how they've structured things. This might be one of those rules where this may need to be overhauled so that we can prevent, I would say, great coaches from not being able to empower their players. And then really then looking at it, what else can be done on the side to supplement, what really is a huge gap. You hate to say that you're a winner on the field and then you go home and then there's no support.
Mark, I talked to I was friends with Coach Willie Goldsmith of Miami Northwestern back in the 90s. And he told me a lot of stories. I don't want to get into it about things he had to do when he was at the school. And they became one of the more successful programs in the state. In fact, I think that was their first state championship, I think 95 or 96. And talking to him, he was giving me the breakdown of what he had to deal with. And it seems like it's come full circle with coaches trying to help and do things. Maybe in the state size, he did a little too much. I don't know. I really don't know the rules. I have to read up on it. But I hate the idea that a coach who's trying to help ends up, have being suspended and not being able to continue to help the kids. He said he would continue to do what he could for those kids, though.
Right. And everything, you don't really look at the individuals. You try to look at the whole situation with the kids involved. And it's just unfortunate how it came apart like that. Miami Northwestern still looks like Miami Northwestern. We saw them in person, uh, front and center, and that team dominated Lakeland last weekend in the preseason game. Wasn't even close. It really came down to just which which weapon do they want to put on the field. So everything is still intact, even though they are under a new head coach right now. And then, of course, Teddy Bridgewater went out in the preseason game, tossed a pair of touchdowns. So looks like everything's still clicking. And I can't say that there's not a silver lining somewhere in that situation, but do hope that things do work out for both teams respectively, for Gaston County and Miami Northwestern. It seems to me it's you want teams to be at their best regardless of the situation. You want to be able to see the kids compete at the highest level, and you want to see teams at full strength. That's what makes football here in the state of Florida great. But moving on, man, this is gonna take some getting used to, but it's looking it's kind of coming together. I'm watching the construction. I kind of peeked my head in a little bit, and this is the new look dope.
Man, I thought that was a new Cox Field.
This is one of those where it's just like, is this what are they going for here? But I didn't appreciate the renderings. The renderings I was along with everybody else. I'm like, nah, I don't like that. Put the seats back in. But this is very luxurious right here.
Well, I know a couple of come up with a little bit more money, and they ain't too happy. But looked like the university had to make a move, and they look like they did it.
And you can see, I think you can see it in the picture, right as that cutout at the 50-yard line, just above that, that's
Uh,
like the four quarters online box right
oh,
there. And so I'm excited to go from Friday night at the stadium over to
Yeah, I
Saturday
appreciate that.
enjoying the four quarters box.
okay.
Really excited to just kind of roll in there and just be like, yep,
Yeah,
I'm with those guys.
we shook hands. We cashed in some favors, but that's gonna be us right there, right over there on the end.
Yeah.
But the leather chair back seats, so got cup holders. I think I don't know. I don't know if they vibrate or if they're heated. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is gonna be Florida State football moving forward, and it's gonna be starting to trend. UF has gone through some renderings. Um, Recently they're going to be making some upgrades. University of Georgia is going to be making some upgrades. So could this be one of the precursors to them joining maybe perhaps the Big Ten or the SEC? We don't know, but this is definitely one of those where all eyeballs are going to be on the product on the field after everybody takes their seats. So Mike Norvell, you still got to get it done. But at least people will be comfortable no matter what happens. I'm not sure if I hope nobody spills their champagne over there watching FSU
Wow.
uh, take the field. But yeah, the concessions look nice. A much needed upgrade was the restrooms. Um, but yeah, there's going to be, I think, I think there's going to be a great crowd on hand for that first those first few games. So already got some FSU hate going on, but hey, it is what it is. It's not college football season and people can't start talking.
It's a
But
fun
guys,
time.
I'm really looking forward to this season. We have knocked the dust off of everything. Everybody's ready to go. Let's go ahead and get into the week number one schedule. We already had a week number one game that was official in the books. I think there was a pair. Florida High Edge Gabi last week. And then what was the other one?
It was
And
Osceola in the SSAA.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Osceola and Weewa.
Osceola rolled. Yeah, I think it was 27-0, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, they look good. Passing game's rolling.
Yeah, that's Osceola has first year new head coach coming over
Wheeler.
from Florida High. But let's go ahead and jump into the week number one schedule. Thursday night, a pair of games across North Florida. We got Leon taking on Wakulla, and this is going to be well, can't call him new, but uh this is going to be Coach Bell's I can't. I don't know if it's his third stint as a head coach in the area, but
well, he was at Leon, and
yep.
he did. He didn't. He wasn't a head coach. He was the head coach of Rickards in the '90s, and I don't think. I think this is his second head coaching job.
Okay. Well, Coach Bell will make his second debut this time for the red and white, and they'll be taking on Wakulla. Wakulla looked, in my opinion, I think they looked very sharp in their preseason game. This is going to be one where really Leon will look to see. We'll kind of get more of a good look at Leon than we will at Wakulla. I think for the most part, there's still some mystery behind Leon, and so they'll get a chance to kind of show off what they've been able to put together on Thursday night as they take on the War Eagles. Then you have Bay taking on Arnold, and this. Remember how both teams ended the season last year. I think they are much improved coming back in. Coach Griffin out in Arnold, man, shocked a lot of people out there in the Panama City area, but don't sleep on Bay. A lot of those younger guys have really grown up over the summer. This is going to be a good one to watch.
Yeah, that should be a good matchup. Both of these teams, kind of the top in the area. I don't want to, besides Mosley, which is Mosley's the number one team, but these guys have some great coaches, Coach Brown and Coach Griffin, two of the best coaches in the state of Florida.
Yeah, and this was that wild game last year too, gang. That was 8-7 down to the wire, and I think there was a goal line stand week one. So it's turning into a week one classic, and hopefully it's entertaining as last year. But I assume this one will come down to the wire as well. Really excited for that big one out west.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Moving on around the area, NFC at home against Chipley. The Eagles uh, weren't quite themselves last year, and hopefully they'll be able to get back to their winning ways under Coach Kez McCorvey. This is going to be a good one here. Chipley, man, they return a lot of talent. A lot of those guys, I think last year that were juniors and sophomores have had a chance to kind of grow up a little bit. So Chipley will be bringing in a few guys, quite a few guys. They'll have some senior leadership on that team with a lot of playmakers. This one may be end up. This one will probably be a good one. I'm going to keep my eye on that one as well. I don't want to sleep on this next one. This one's going to be probably one of the biggest games to open up week number one. That's Lincoln taking on Niceville out at Childs High School. Man, you're not going to get any better than this. Niceville and Lincoln, both under new head coaches. This is going to be a good one. Looking at how Lincoln performed last week, man, Lincoln looks dangerous, especially when you have the whole Jacobs to Jacobs potential connection going on. But if I can say anything, Taylor Jr. looked absolutely I would say he looked rock solid under center. Was able to kind of pick apart, didn't lose his poise the entire game, considering the heat and everything that they were going up against with an upstart Carroll City team that really looked good defensively for a few moments here in the first half. Man, Lincoln looked like the Lincoln that we're used to seeing.
Man, this is a great matchup. You're talking Niceville and the Lincoln Trojans. Niceville had a big win over Bate in their kickoff classic, and Lincoln showing off against Carroll City. Man, I'm excited. I want to see that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on around the area, we've got Godby taking on Rickers, and Rickers absolutely dismantled Leon in the kickoff classic last week. Uh, we had a chance to talk to our coach Lewis for a little bit during media day, and I think he's really excited about the talent level. Godby still, man, going up against Florida High, I don't know if that was exactly a good way to test things out because they look for a moment they looked kind of evenly matched with Florida High coming down the stretch until Florida High was able to pull out the win. But man, Godby with the new quarterback, I think this is going to be coming down to who's going to be able to have the strongest defense in this one. Both teams have excellent quarterback play, or at least that's what it appeared after I saw Rickers last week.
I think that the Ricketts is kind of a lot of these guys got a chance to play last year, and coaches was really excited talking about his crew coming up. You might not know some of the names, but he's looking forward to a lot of good things out of these guys.
And he's talking about the stability too, guys, and as far as the having the players back and the consistency. Did he give any when you talked to him? Was he talking? I know there was a quarterback battle. Are we going to see both those guys, Kelly and Hutchinson, out here tonight or this weekend?
He really didn't get into it. He was just talking about all the positives. Didn't talk about no battles. He was just talking about he was looking forward to a lot of the young guys got to play last year, and now he'll see what they can do in the regular season.
All right, let's keep it moving. One of the state's oldest and most historic rivalries, Liberty, Bluntstown, only separated by a river and a time zone. This one's going to be good. I like what Liberty was able to do last year. This team is really upstart. We had a chance to talk with Carlos Williams a little bit. He's really excited about his guys, but man, they have a formidable foe going up against Bluntstown. Bluntstown was a beneficiary of Sion Smith using his efforts in their kickoff class. They looked really sharp. And if I'm not mistaken, Coach, they have a transfer from Mariana who's have a familiar name.
They got one of the best running backs in the country, and Amari Thomas, transfer from Mariana, which is going to really make that team special. I forgot the other transfers they got, but that's the big one.
Yeah. That team's absolutely loaded this year. Bluntstown, I know they're getting some love in the preseason. I don't think they're getting enough love, guys. They are loaded, dangerous, rebolstered offensive line. We got our boy Keaton Beach out there, that big boy on the line as well. The backfield is loaded with three D1 guys. They are so dangerous. They're gonna be really fun to watch this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to see Bluntstown going down the stretch. They had some near misses last season, but they also had a lot of young guys, along with Liberty County as well. I would say that this could be a good test for Liberty County, given the fact that we had the split rural division in the playoffs. So the team that tends to fare well are the teams that take on stiff competition early in the year. This could be a beneficial game for both teams moving forward. McClay opening up the season against Jefferson County, and Coach Bright's debut for the Tigers, and also Coach Sloan's debut for the Marauders. This is going to be a good one. Of course, you can watch this one live on Four Quarters Online. We will have the whole crew on deck for that game, so fear not. We will be live streaming that game. Really looking forward to seeing how the new look Jefferson County Tigers. Coach Bright is going to bring in everything he talked about, bringing in some of the Madison County tradition that he came up with. That Coach Cole coaching tree is getting bigger. You got a few guys around the area that have really, kind of gotten their feet wet as head coaches. And Coach Bright, man, him being from the area right there in that Madison, Lee, Greenville, Monticello kind of direct pipeline. He knows those kids. He knows the community. I think he's going to breathe some life into the Tigers program.
Man, he was excited, and he got me pumped up. I wanted to put on the uniform. Man, he's bringing that culture to the Jefferson County Tigers, and I'm looking for something special out of this group.
Yeah, Jeffco is going to be fun this year, and McClay's switching up the offense, gang. It's not the kind of run and gun that you've been falling in love with last couple of years. A little more physical look to it. So I think this game's going to have a lot of intrigue. Will be a great preview getting off week one, for what we can expect for these squads.
Yeah, absolutely. McClay, went on a fantastic run last season. Really, a couple of plays away from being able to have a berth in the state title game. Shocked a lot of teams. The kids who are coming back, they're going to be battle tested. They've had some playoff experience, and that's going to go a long way. But this is going to be a big test for both teams. Right there off of Meridian Road at McClay High School. We will be on deck for that one. You can catch that game live on Four Quarters Online. Mosley, Rutherford, and man, the Dolphins had a bitter taste in their mouth last year, and they are out to pick up where they left off. They will be taking a Rutherford team that's looking to pick up the pieces too. Show some bright spots there for the Rams, but there'll be some new faces here on this Rutherford team.
Yeah, looking for them to kind of bounce back. I think that, like you said, they had a sour taste in their mouth from last year, and I think they started off great, and they want to finish this year.
Yeah, they got some solid players on defense. They got the big tight end, who's a high-profile Mississippi State commit. New quarterback, which will be interesting, but a familiar face in the run game with Chisholm. They're going to be high-flying versus a Rutherford squad who's got some experience last year. We saw some flashes from the Rams last season.
Absolutely, we did. Moving on, battle for the old Oak and Bucket. This is another historic rivalry to open up the season with a bang. Swanee taking on Lake City, Columbia. And this one, man, you just throw everything out the window. These schools don't like each other, never have. It's just rivalry week, and this is going to be a good one. Coach Kyler Hall is going to be leading the upstart Swanee team that has some new faces on it, and some returning guys coming back against Columbia as well, who ended the season not quite where they wanted, but still has some flashes of greatness as they bring back quite a few guys as well. I'm going to kind of keep it rolling here. Holmes County taking on Bozeman, and Coach, I think that's Coach Pettis out there at Bozeman is going to get the Bucks turned around from last season. They'll be taking on Holmes County on the road, so that'll be a good test for both teams.
Yeah, looking for Coach Pettis. He was pretty daggone excited about getting back being a head guy. He has spent a couple of years at Arnold, and now he has his own team. and got a good area. He look for them to improve and make a run. I would be surprised. I like his offense, as you know.
Yeah, good to see Coach KP. Big boys up against Holmes County. That's going to be a tough one to start the season.
Yeah. Moving on around the area, Walton taking on Mariana, and man, both teams graduated a ton of seniors last year. Mariana is going to be almost a different team in some regards, just with the talent that they've graduated. And this is one of those where we I think we saw a pretty good Walton team that will bring back a few guys, but man, these teams are really going to be trying to rebuild, going off of what they lost talent wise from last season. Freeport will be taking on North Bay Haven. And North Bay Haven really just trying to get a revamped team, as they were absolutely just decimated just through coaching changes and didn't really have too much of a squad last year. But this new look North Bay Haven team is underneath new leadership. It's kind of like you're breathing new life and starting all over again. But man, for the Bucks, I know they're eager to get out there on the field. Florida High taking on Denellen, and this is going to be Seminoles trying to go to 2-0. For Florida High, this is really one of those where they get the early tests in, and then before they try to fall into a groove. But only 3 home games this season, and this is one of them. So man, hopefully the Shack will be rocking.
Well, you know how it is with Florida High. Well coached football team. Guys, they roll them through. They always perform, and look for them to start the season off pretty good.
Yeah, and they get Denellen at home this year, which I think will be a big plus. Tough trip down on the road last year. And they got 2 quarterbacks that could sling it out there. It's kind of similar to Rickards. We might see multiple guys with touchdown passes out here this weekend.
Yeah. Cottondale taking on Sneeze. This is going to be a new look Cottondale team as they graduated a couple of their biggest playmakers. Man, they put up an awful lot of points last season. Like they almost broke the scoreboard, but they still got quite a few guys coming back, especially on that offensive. If I'm not mistaken, I think in the interior they got a few guys coming back. So this will be an interesting matchup against Sneeze, who actually has a lot of talent that has gotten a chance to grow up and gain some experience. So man, between Sneeze and Cottondale, this is going to be a good test for both teams to open up the season. So let's keep it rolling as we move on. South Walton taking on Gulf Breeze. Vernon taking on Baker to open up the season respectively. And then our good friend Coach Cooper down on the beach. Going to be taking on Central. Man, Seahawks turned a lot of heads last season. And this group, even though they graduated a few guys, I think they're going to be much improved.
Yeah, talk to Coach. In fact, tonight, he is really excited about the season, and he expects big things out of this group. So, hey, we're going to keep an eye on it.
So let's keep it rolling. Madison taking on D-Land, and this time the Cowboys were road warriors last year, and this time they get a couple of more games back in Boot Hill. And this is going to be a monster one, I think, for the Cowboys to open up on that title defense campaign. We're going to see what Madison brings to the table against an upstart D-Land team coming in from Central Florida. Then the Jaguars from Gadsden County, had a chance to talk about them. But, man, when you take a look at this team, they can still run. They can still run with some of the big boys. And this one, it will be a major test as they go into Tift County to take on the Blue Devils.
Yep, so I think they handled Tiff pretty good last year, right, gang? If my memory serves me correctly. So going up north of the border again, they're going to hit the road again. They're going out of state again. No rest for the Gadsden County Jaguars. So hoping for their sake for some good news tomorrow, and then we'll see how that affects the rest of the way. But I know the guys geared up, ready to go. Coach Gordon and the boys that are rolling. Gonna give Florida our best shot. It's always good, kind of like when we get a shot at those South Florida teams, gang.
Yeah.
Whenever we get a shot at those Georgia teams, we want to get a good one because our area gets looked down upon a lot. So we'll be rooting for our Big Bend boys.
Absolutely. Osceola Christian taking on Scintilla. Warriors look good in their opener. Jupe, I know you had a chance to kind of peek in on them. Uh, Passing game looked like it was kind of fun. They'll get a chance to take on Scintilla at home. And for really, this is their week number 2 game.
Yeah, out in the woods, La Rosa picking up right where he left off last year. They're fun to watch so far. Really liking what Osceola's got going on.
Childs hitting the road. They'll take on Dothan. Rematch from last season. Maybe hopefully the Timberwolves can turn the tide as they will be out in Alabama taking on Dothan. Then Taylor County versus Fort White. Man, this was probably one of the most entertaining games to open up the season last year. Taylor County was able to take it in overtime. And I know Fort White is going to be coming into Dorset Stadium looking for revenge. But man, this Taylor County team looks a lot more disciplined, a lot bigger as well. Man, I had a chance to talk to some of those guys uh, during the during our media day, and man, man, the interior's got some weight on it. There's some size over there in Taylor County.
Yeah, Coach Braswell was excited. He thought this was one of his better teams, and he just got there a couple years ago. But he was really excited about this group and looked for big things. It's a tough. He's in rural, so that's going to be tough because you got to deal with those monsters like Bluntstown and Madison. But hey, he figured he can compete.
Yeah, and they're going to be ready to compete. It seems like wherever they are, they're going against monsters. You had Florida High and Gadsden both in the district last year. Now you got to go down there, but that should be a fun battle. See what Taylor County can do. See kind of not necessarily a redemption campaign, but I think kind of a proving ground. Hey, can you do it again? Where's Taylor County at? They're definitely one of my teams to watch, though. Interesting coming on Taylor County.
Yeah, absolutely. Rounding out the slate, Lafayette taking on Dixie County, and then your FAMU High Baby Rattlers at home against Aville Christian out of Alabama, and that will do it for the week number 1 slate. Man, what a good set of games! I'm really feeling this. I think we're going to have a great. I think we're going to see some fireworks, especially on the north side of town. I'm really looking forward to that Lincoln Niceville game.
Yeah, me too, Mark. That should be really exciting. After what I saw last week from Lincoln, I wonder if they can continue that. They look like one of the best teams in this area.
Have they ever gotten Niceville in Tallahassee? Obviously, it feels like they've
It's
made
a
the
rare
road trip
case.
out there.
I
Yeah,
think it's rare.
Outside
Niceville
of
play like 8, 9 home games.
will go outside of the playoffs.
I think there was
And
one
they always
playoffs
home.
they came in here, but it feels like this is like the first time in the last, or the second time in like the last 12, 12 matchups that they've gotten them in town here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
I think the last time they came to Tallahassee, I think Roy Finch was on the team.
Come on.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. But that will do it for this week 1 edition of the Extra Point. We're going to sign off here for Coach Cofield, Andrew Jupe, I'm Mark Adams. This is 4 Quarters Online and the Extra Point Podcast. Catch us here every Wednesday night. We're going to be talking North Florida football across the I-10 corridor every week until we get to the end of the season. So, guys, it's going to be a long ride. Let's buckle up. We'll catch everybody next week.